Okay, so we're recording, but you're running the interview.
Am I? I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about what we're gonna teach beginners. How about that?
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, talk about beginner adult players. Is it?
Yeah, beginners of any kind. But go ahead and why don't you do an intro on the show, and then we'll, we've got, we have less than 20 minutes because I really need to leave here by around 2:15, 3:15.
So let's try to do 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Hi guys, I'm Ryan here with Bill Patton from the US, and we're talking about Bill's trip to Sydney in early February. And today's topic would be around beginner adults and what kind of content Bill's going to be covering when he comes to Sydney. So, hey Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you, Ryan, once again. And I have the countdown ready to go this time. The countdown to the trip is 37 days, 2 hours, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. That's when I arrive at the airport. So that's when I'm considering it the beginning of the trip. But
So
obviously I'm going to.
890 hours now.
Okay, you have it in hours. Excellent. And I'll be arriving on the 29th, the day of the men's final. So if you're in Sydney, then I'll be looking forward to finding somebody who wants to go to the pub and watch the men's final. So come with me and get a frosty beverage. So we're talking about how to teach beginners, yeah?
Yeah, so we're talking about that. So beginners struggle picking up the game for a number of reasons. One, they lack confidence when they first turn up because they think they can't do it, especially serving daunts them.
Yeah.
And they think at least subconsciously that they need to rally forever. So what kind of things are we looking at to help them?
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen, we're speaking mainly from a coach's point of view, but turn it around if you're the player, right? So you're coming
Yeah.
and the one of the things that's already being defeated if you're going to be coming to one of these sessions is you've already met Ryan and I virtually. So you're not going to meet a complete stranger. That can be really difficult. Somebody signs up for a class and they don't even know what the instructor looks like. It could be a multiple court facility. Am I in the right place? Right. I mean, there's a lot of different things, but now you've seen Ryan and I, our faces. And so when you turn up, then you'll see us at work and you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go wherever he goes. And then that's good. But I think job one is just kind of learn to relax. I mean, if a beginner reflects back on all the other things that they've ever been successful at in life, then they can take that learning and make it possible. So I often equate it to driving a car. When you first started driving a car, you were scared, you thought you might die, you thought you might kill your instructor or your parent or your older brother, or they might kill you. But you learned, and then you had to be very methodical. You had to look for a long time, and then you very carefully turn the wheel, and you were afraid to put your foot on the gas. And then, in a couple of weeks, couple of months, you're just driving, and now you get in the car and you go somewhere, and sometimes you can't even remember how you got there because you just are so automatic. So learning to play tennis is going to feel like those first moments when you were learning to drive a car. Or
Yeah.
think about your first day at work. You go to a new job, right? And they give you a badge and they give you some keys maybe, and you don't even know where your desk is, right? So you have to be
Yeah.
shown everything. And then, well, how do you open this, right? What do and then, Monday the next week, you just go in and you just start working. It's not a big deal. And you've met everybody you need to meet, and so
Yeah.
becomes very natural very quickly. I think that's the first mindset, is that just approach it like that. Okay, I'm going to get used to this. It's going to be okay. I might feel a little awkward at first, but I've learned so many other things in the past. This isn't that difficult.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I can resonate with all those things. Like I've had those feelings. I'm sure most people have. Now I think the thing with adults is I find it a little different from the coach's point of view, where the kids might feel all the similarities, but they will kind of just sponge it up, either do it or not do it. And when they don't do it, it's not because they think they can't, they just don't do it. Where the adults often doubt themselves.
Yeah.
They think that they might be better coaches, at least subconsciously, than the coach.
Oh, right.
So
Right.
and they might be able to hit the ball, but they really struggle with, like, control and being able to partner up with a person down the other end, and they can quickly lose confidence. So
Right. Well, there might be a better coach. So it's quite possible there could be a better coach, right? But that's another issue. So, the
yeah,
interesting thing is, one thing that I usually cover in the first lesson with an adult is how a kid can miss 7 straight shots, make the 8th one, and they're like, yippee, they're excited. I did it, right? But an adult could make 7 straight shots and miss the 8th one, and then they have a curse word on their mind. And
yeah,
so we stop at that moment. I'm like, I can see that you're mad that you missed the 8th shot, but are you not at all happy that you made 7 in a row? So, kids do this, adults do that. Who would you rather be like? So part of it, I think, is the coach, saying, hey, look, we're here to play a game. And so the more you can bring childlike enthusiasm to it, then the better you're going to do. And you're going to have a lot less frustration. One thing that I often say in early lessons is this, is that, oh, look, you are working really hard over there, and I'm here goofing off, and then you're going to pay me. Sounds like the worst transaction ever, right? I'm
yeah.
having all the fun. I'm having all the fun, and then I get paid. So no, and then they that just makes them very concerned that they're on the wrong end of the transaction. I said, well, the way you can equalize that is to bring a little more enjoyment to it. So part of what happens is we're going to put you at ease, where our job is to help you learn to relax and have fun. And tennis is actually a very simple game to learn. I think part of what makes it difficult is when people think it's difficult. And we will also set the bar low enough that you can succeed. And then as you clear hurdles, then we'll raise the challenge level. So I guarantee everybody, every single player who comes onto my court will have a 10-shot rally in their very first lesson, and probably in the first 10 minutes. So
So
everybody
yeah.
will have a rally. And then by the end of one lesson, you will be a rallier.
And that's with a full size tennis racket and a yellow ball.
Exactly. Yep. Full-size tennis racket and a yellow ball. Right. Now, that might not look like your preconceived notion of what you think it's supposed to look like, but that's okay. But we'll make you successful, and then we'll help you become successful at a higher level and a higher level. And then we'll start to discover what are some things that are holding you back, and then you will let go of those things that are holding you back, and then we'll go further. So one practical thing I can tell you right now, this is, because one thing we want to do in these videos is make sure that we give some actual real bona fide advice that you can use right now.
Yeah.
So it's not all infomercial, is that tennis is a game of catching and tossing, receiving and sending, and the rack in Egyptian means palm. So, so sometimes people think of the racket as being like a bat, right? So, for cricketers, right, you have the cricket bat. For the US, we have the baseball bat. And so people sometimes think of the racket as being something that you're going to apply force to the ball to make it go over. When in reality, it's really more supposed to be a hand. So we're going to accentuate the ability to catch and toss catch and toss the ball with your new hand, and so then, and that makes early facilitation towards that experience where, good, accomplished players will often say that they feel like the racket is an extension of their arm. I think unfortunately there are too many coaches out there that make it more difficult rather than easier for players to experience the racket being an extension of someone's arm. So we're going to do a lot of ball possession things, and we're going to focus more on possessing the ball than sending the ball. Here in the US, I think 90% or more of coaches focus solely on the sending skills of, how to do a stroke, when really the number one thing in most every sport, like consider soccer, first you have to trap the soccer ball. This is like a World Cup timely, example, right? So you have to trap the ball, you have to possess the ball before you can dribble, pass, or shoot. Same thing with basketball, right? You have to possess the ball before you dribble, pass, or shoot. So, but in tennis, coaches don't often teach about how to get possession of the ball first before making a shot.
Yeah, I like to tell my players that there's two targets. One's the contact, and that takes more work because that's also when you really got to zone in your focus. But also, if you're not self-feeding and you're actually rallying or playing a point, you got to get into position, which is a lot harder. Once you're in a good position, you get that good target lined up, and then the second target that everyone thinks of is where it goes, the sending target, the target on the other end of the court.
Right.
So yeah, that relates quite well. And on the other topic, I always like to say it's not an extension of your arm, it's just an extension of your hand, because really the racket control comes from your hand.
Yeah, we could argue about that a little bit, but I don't think this is the place. We'll have to refine that a little bit. Another thing that we'll get into, and I'm not going to explain it in full now, is that people want to use apprehension rather than comprehension. So too many players come and they're thinking too hard about how to play the game. So they will do one of a number of things. One, they will assemble a checklist of things to do that their coach told them, get in the ready position, turn your side to the net, get the racket ready, put the racket down there, bring it to the contact, and then they have this list of 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 things that they're supposed to do. And so they have their checklist in their mind. They're going 1, 2, 3, check, 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 check. But then by the time they get to number 2, the ball's already gone.
Yeah.
So they're frustrated because they can't complete their checklist. Another thing that people do is they think if they just criticize themselves enough, they'll do better, right? So they're bad shot, bad shot, right? And then they'll hit a good shot and they're like, oh, that's awesome. And then they're like, I'm going to try really hard and make that happen again. And then they hit a bad shot. And then they create this complex in their mind of, how come I can't hit 2 good shots in a row? What's wrong with me? So, and then another thing people do is they treat it like like the coach is a doctor, right? So you're sick,
Yeah.
your tennis game is sick. So you have to go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to use his stethoscope, and he's going to listen to you, and he's going to draw blood and, find out what's wrong with you, what is wrong with you. And then he will give you medicine, or he'll saw something off of you or something, the
I think
doctors.
that's a good point, because I try to do the opposite, but I don't know if coaches might do that. I might have seen them do that, but I also seen when the players turn up, especially the adult players who we're talking about, they think that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So if you give them a piece of advice, they think that's what's happening, rather than you're doing well and we're just helping you progress. So get better bit by bit rather than perfection. So
Well, I think though it's better to go a different direction and make
yeah,
the player should be empowered to be the one who learns, and
yeah,
they have everything they need to be able to play tennis. Um, they just don't. They just lack experience. So
yeah.
it's just a matter of just sort of guiding them, helping them understand. How do they? I'm loving all the noises. All right. Ah! What's going on over there? See, that's
It's
what we want the adults to do when they come. We want them to have fun like that, making play noises. But
yeah,
back to the point, instead of using all that upper mind, the high parts of the brain that do all the analytics, and that do all the create the checklists and do the subjective judgments. What we want to do is we want to use the apprehensive mind, which allows you to read and react to the ball. And I have a whole presentation on how to learn to apprehend. And then once a player gets in tune with apprehending the ball, pretty much everything else is going to seem very easy. So I'm looking at the clock here, and we have less than 3 minutes. We need to wrap up pretty quick.
yeah. So we might wrap up. So just in summary, what can the adults, beginner to intermediate players really look forward to when they come and join the courses in February?
They're going to improve beyond their wildest dreams and be very excited when they get done.
And what tangible things can they grasp before they get there?
They're going to learn how to apprehend. They're gonna learn how to possess the ball,
Yeah,
and they're gonna learn how to use the racket as an extension of their arm or hand, because Ryan said hand, right? And they're gonna start to understand, what are the real true fundamentals of how to play tennis, because it's not about having a complete understanding of all the different ways to swing your racket. It's mostly about, getting in position to make a shot, and having a playful attitude about it,
yeah,
learning from the things that happen, either the good shots or the shots that don't quite go where you want them to. We can learn from all of those shots. And this is where I'll leave you with, when we get done, the thing that I want people to do is I want them to reflect on their successes on the day and leave the criticisms behind. Reflect on, because then there's new research that says that the more you reflect on your successes, the more those things are picked out of your and placed into your memory when you sleep that night. So also plan to get a really good night's sleep after you have these amazing lessons with us, because that's going to facilitate faster learning. So that's what I've got for today.
yeah. So that's really good. Thanks, Bill. So I guess we'll see you again in a few days to a week, and we'll talk about the next thing for everyone.
All right, very good. And I'm looking forward to meeting you, the person who's right there watching. I'll look forward to meeting you, and we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. Excellent.